We recently took a look at Razer's latest 14-inch gaming laptop, the new Blade, which we appreciated for its sturdy design and solid performance. We also fell in love with its high-res screen, a QHD Plus panel with a native resolution of 3200 by 1800. But despite looking great, it's admittedly over the top, and a major contributor to the increase in price over the previous 14-inch Blade. Razer's 17-inch Blade Pro is also back for 2014, and while it hasn't been tweaked as much as its smaller cousin, it's definitely an improvement over the last year. At a glance, the new Blade Pro mirrors the physical design of last year's model, sharing the same dimensions and ports, with the only difference being that it's 0.04 pounds lighter. The thin aluminum chassis feels great, and for a 17-inch gaming laptop, the Blade Pro is as thin and light as it currently gets. Though it's great to see that some things never change, including the Blade's fantastic keyboard, the Switchblade UI trackpad is a feature that's needed refining since its inception, and unfortunately nothing's changed since last year. The promise of the Switchblade UI, a full-color touchscreen display with 10 customizable keys with displays of their own, isn't as enticing as it's made out to be. With the secondary display, you can run apps alongside or in unison with desktop apps. And with the customizable keys, you can define hotkeys for various applications and implement full-color icons to give them character. Sure enough, these features work, but the problem is the compromises that arise from their inclusion, especially the touchscreen. The issues with the Switchblade UI go beyond its distinct features. For one, the plastic surface that protects the display is a poor surface for a laptop trackpad. Put simply, the surface tension is easily disrupted by even the slightest amount of residue, resulting in an input that feels inconsistent. It's positioned to the right of the keyboard, which is unusual for a laptop and will take some getting used to. On the plus side, it makes sense from a comfort standpoint if you can't use a mouse when gaming on the go. The 10 customizable keys are functionally better than the trackpad, but despite Razer's marketing images, the per-key displays are recessed into the keys rather than positioned on the top, and the lensing effect that's used to direct the image towards the left, done for visibility, makes things a blurry mess from any other angle. Personally, I found no worth in the ability to run apps on my keyboard. If I'm playing a game, I'm focused on the action on screen, and if I have the time to shift my attention away from the game to focus on the Switchblade screen, then I could just as easily Alt-Tab into another window on my actual monitor. The new Pro model also comes with the same CPU as last year, an Intel Core i7-4700HQ quad-core CPU at 2.4 GHz, but it's paired with a new GPU, NVIDIA's 860M, in addition to 16GB of DDR3 RAM, which is twice as much as the previous model. The 860M represents a significant jump in performance over last year's 765M, but it's not as strong as the 870 in the 14-inch Blade. In terms of hardware, the Blade Pro's advantage is that it has a slightly faster CPU and twice as much RAM. But when it comes to in-game performance, the 14-inch Blade is the stronger contender. The Blade Pro does benefit from slightly better battery life, lasting around 90 minutes during extreme gaming scenarios, and close to 5 hours while web browsing, word processing, and media streaming sessions. The 1080p LCD panel on the Blade Pro is neither impressive nor disappointing. Given its size and the money spent on other features, it's a tad unfortunate that it maxes out at 1920 by 1080, but it doesn't stand out in practice, only when you're weighing the merits of the screen relative to the rest of the laptop's premium features. In terms of inputs, the Blade Pro has the essentials covered: 3 USB 3.0 ports, Ethernet, headphone and microphone combo port, and an HDMI out. It's worth noting that it lacks an SD card slot, which is quickly becoming commonplace in the laptop market. Considering that Razer sells this laptop for a minimum of $2,300 for the 128GB model, it's a shame that it hasn't kept up with industry standards. If you need more storage, prepare to spend $2,500 for the 256GB version or $2,800 for the 512GB model. Given that high cost, it's also disappointing that you'll have to settle for medium to high graphics settings. Very high or ultra settings are simply out of reach if you want playable frame rates. Running the same benchmarks as the Blade, it's clear that the Pro model is the weakest of the two, even though it's the most expensive. Recommending the Blade Pro in a world where the new Blade offers better performance for less money is difficult. The extra RAM and faster CPU look good on paper, but the results speak for themselves. Unless you need a 17-inch display, you're better off in almost every respect by choosing the 14-inch Blade if you want one of Razer's thin and light gaming laptops. It's better at gaming, it features a remarkable screen, it's more portable, and it isn't plagued by a trackpad that's occasionally inconsistent.